This is the Sports Card Man podcast for episode number 2. We are back. I'm your host, Vinny Rulo. Going to get to a lot of good things today. Last weekend, we did the Cooperstown show. Friday, Saturday, we were set up. Very cool to see a lot of people there. Good time for it for sure. A lot of people haven't been able to go there in about 3 years because of the COVID. But this year, big crowd for Ortiz. Was glad to see everybody back there and talk to a lot of people. Had some good sales. It was a good time. We also did the Albany card show too in upstate New York, and that was a good time as well. And this weekend, I will be at the National for Saturday and Sunday. But let's get right into it for this week too. For this episode, a lot of obviously since we last spoke, a lot has happened as far as in the card market and sports. We're going to spend some time on cards, spend some time with talking sports news as well. But yeah, the biggest news of the day is the Mickey Mantle 1952 Topps. First Topps card, not his rookie. His rookie's 51 Bowman has hit Heritage Auctions and is already at $4.3 million. A lot of people talking about it on social media today. Probably going to break a record, go easily, I would say $10 million. I believe the highest ever sale was like $6 million something. So this card is historic in a sense, and it'll give a lot of publicity to SGC, a lot of publicity to Heritage Auctions, and I think it's gonna only benefit those two companies as far as getting a lot of notoriety for this card. A lot of news outlets will be talking about it. It'll be talked about, I'm sure, a ton on social media and a ton at the National too. So that was my thoughts kind of on that card. There's only, if you're not familiar with it, there's only 3 PSA 10s in the world. I believe one of them is owned by the Diamondbacks owner, another guy that travels with like his own private army, and I believe the third one is like a older guy that's had it for a while, that he bought it in like the mid 90s. So that card is easily the best baseball card ever and the best sports card ever. So I'm expecting that to go upwards of $10 million. Other topics I wanted to get into today too. We'll stick to cards related, and I'll juggle back and forth. Talking about some sports things too. My big wins recently, I would say, within the last week and a half or so, it was definitely Matt Carpenter. A lot of Yankees people have been talking about him, whether it's analysts, whether it's current players, whether it's former players, current players on the team. Everybody has been, talking up how well Carpenter is playing. He leads baseball in OPS, or he was right there. I believe he has around 14 home runs and about 100 at bats, and easily been the best pickup of any player for the Yankees or in baseball this season. I would say at the mid, and I think they got him in like the end of May. So great scouting done by the Yankees, and to pick him up and definitely get a lot out of him. But long story short, about a week and a half ago, I was browsing the Matt Carpenter card market. And, if you're not familiar with his cards, his best card is his 2011 Bowman Prospect card. And he also has a 2011 Bowman Chrome card, which has like the black and green border. But the Prospect card is a facsimile auto. And like the best one you can obviously get is a Super Fractor, which I don't no idea who has that or where it is. I saw the gold refractor was going close to like $200 or so, and like it was up for auction, right? And one of the trends in sports cards right now is if you buy the color match to go with the team's uniform. So example, if you get like a player on, like, let's say like the Packers, you could get the green border of the card, and it's kind of like you have the color match to go with the team's uniform, right? So I was browsing the Matt Carpenter market, and I saw there was only one graded Carpenter on, which was a PSA 9 Bowman Chrome blue refractor. And with Carpenter being on the Yankees wearing blue, even though it's like a lighter shade of blue, the Yankees are more like a darker blue. I was like, hey, that card's kind of cool. Didn't even know the pop report at the time, but I knew it was the only one on there, right? And it was the blue refractor numbered to 250. I was going back and forth with the seller for a little bit, trying to get it for like 30, $35. We finally agreed on a price for 35 shipped, and I got it, right? And just before the All-Star break, he was getting red hot with the Yankees. He had about a 7 RBI game, 2 home runs, and this was leading up to the All-Star week, right? And everyone was talking about Carpenter this, Carpenter that, Saturday, Sunday, everything was a Carpenter, right? And I had the card on, and I was getting action on it immediately. Probably within a few days later, just after I bought it, I put it on, and there was no action for a couple games, and I was like, okay, let's give it's the All-Star week, maybe it'll pick back up. And then sure enough, he hit a home run on Saturday against the Orioles, which was like number 14. And then on Sunday, which was yesterday, the card sold for full price, $125. So, that just shows you that, sometimes you have to kind of go off the grid a little bit, or kind of go outside the box to get, some players that, other people aren't thinking of to buy. Or other people haven't caught on to, and it only takes one person to buy Carpenter, and for you to make a profit, things like that. I'm a Yankees fan too. I was thinking about holding on to it, but I'm not sure of like the longevity of Carpenter, so I decided to sell it. But yeah, that was one of my big wins on cards recently, for sure, no doubt about it. And nobody else had any Carpenters listed whatsoever. My other one recently, which was a big one for me, was on the Albany show. I picked up a David Ortiz Flair PSA 10. He has a couple other rookies, like the Flair Ultra is his most popular card for sure. That's his PSA Hall of Fame rookie registry card, which is very popular. His next best card is the 97 Flair, which is the one that I picked up. And I picked it up from a guy at the Albany show, and he only wanted like $175 in some trade. So didn't have to give up much for that at all. And I actually sold that for about $360 on eBay. So after fees, about $317 or so, which was a nice quick flip on an Ortiz. I don't mind Ortiz. I just didn't like how he beat up on the Yankees a lot, being a Yankees fan. But I thought his I like him as an announcer for sure, and he definitely was very clutch. And I think he's probably the best DH ever. So he definitely was worthy of getting in the Hall of Fame. But that was a very good quick flip for sure. The other one too that I should mention was this guy. I had mentioned to my premium subscribers on @SportsCardMan Premium was to buy Sandy Alcantara on the Macari app, which you could have bought his Bowman Chrome green auto that I posted about, numbered to 99, on my Instagram page, and for my premium subscribers. And I told them, I was like, hey, these are up for about I believe it was about $75, and they were comping at closer to like 200 plus. And the seller hadn't really updated the listing in a while, so there was some risk in buying it and then not getting it. But at that cost, I thought it was a no-brainer. That's what I pointed out to people, that hey, you should buy this and see if you get it. And then worst case scenario, you could always return it, or if you don't get it, you can get your refund back or something was wrong with it. So to me, it was a low risk move, and it paid off for one of my subscribers. They bought the green refractor. They have since put it on eBay, and it's probably going to sell for 200-ish, I would say. But he's one of the big favorites for the NL Cy Young for sure. I think he'll win it. His ERA is about 1.7. Only about 25, 26 years old. Had some very good seasons. If he was in a bigger market and not, the Miami Marlins, the card would be even worth more with the way he's pitching. So with that being said, the same seller had another Sandy Alcantara, and it was a Beckett 9.5/10 auto, and that was another quick flip that I bought on there, and I resold it and made about $50. So between Cooperstown, between the quick flips on Ortiz, Carpenter, Alcantara, since my last podcast, some very good sales, no doubt about it. And like I said, we're going to carry that momentum into the National. We're hoping, I'm hoping to trade a few of these cards here. I got actually a few cards in front of me. I have a really rare card that I'm going to try to talk about quick. It's a Trayvon Diggs Contenders, the wild card version, and this is a Pop 2, and I have it on eBay for $460 or best offer, and I'm hoping to get around 400 in trade or so. Diggs had a phenomenal season last year, made the All-Pro team. I got that one graded myself, and it came back at 10. I think it's probably around a $400 card. The Contenders auto in a just a base sells for about $225, and that's the wild card version. So I'm trying to. That's my goal at the National. I'm trying to maybe make some few trades. Maybe obviously try to trade up, things like that. That's kind of my mindset. I don't usually tend to sell to dealers too much unless it's something I really want to get rid of, or if I want to get out of something, or just kind of want to break even, things like that. But yeah, that's kind of one card I'm hoping to bring for sure. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about a few other things too that are happening. Obviously, the big news too is the Derek Jeter documentary is currently happening. I've seen the first 2 episodes so far. I pretty much knew everything that transpired so far, like that they've talked about. There's a few things I didn't know as far as like what was happening, but I knew as far as like all the baseball side of things, like and things like that. And it's just a very well done documentary. It's similar to The Last Dance, where it's going in like chronological order. It's really kind of getting like telling you the story and things like that, and it doesn't seem rushed as far as like other documentaries that they seem to go too fast. This one, it's kind of has a good flow to it. It's very nostalgic. It's cool for Yankee fans to kind of reflect back and see how amazing this guy's career was and things like that, which I'm enjoying it. It's the next episode is this Thursday, so it should be definitely cool to see. There was one Jeter card that we featured on our feature card of the week. It was the 92 Little Sun high school proof card, which that card only pops up about 1 or 2 times a year because it's so rare. And I talked about that in my post on @SportsCardMan. And you can definitely give us a follow if you're not following us. And that card was a BGS 8, and it sold within like I believe a couple of days or so after we had posted about it, and somebody definitely scooped it up. But yeah, definitely looking forward to more of the Jeter episodes for sure. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on some baseball news and some other sports news too, and I'm going to do a few more things in relation to cards. Right now, everybody is talking about Juan Soto and where he's going to go. We just posted about his card tonight about the Topps update PSA 10 rookie. That card used to be about, I think it hit about 250. It was the all-time high for it. Right now it's about 100-ish, 110. It has a really high pop of over 21,000 in a PSA 10. But I still think, it's a good card to have just because it's Soto, and he's only 23 years old. He's off to an amazing start, and then if he gets traded to one of these like bigger teams like the Yankees, the Mets, the Cardinals, even the Padres, like imagine pairing him up with Tatis. Like that would be something to have those two guys that young and that good for so long. So I could definitely see him possibly getting moved, but it's kind of up in the air yet. So we'll have to wait and see. The trade deadline is August 2nd, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. And we just posted to buy his card because I think it's probably going to go up if he gets traded. If he doesn't get traded, there's not much risk at that value, even with it being a high pop. Like I wouldn't mind having it just because there's not that many good Soto rookies, and that's still his most popular rookie card. That or probably the Topps Chrome version. But as far as some other guys too that to keep an eye on for baseball, right? One thing to learn from is last year's trade deadline, right? So you had guys like Joey Gallo get moved. You had guys like Max Scherzer get moved. We posted about Max Scherzer last year. His most popular card was the 2008 Topps update, and the PSA 10 of him was so undervalued. And then as soon as he got traded, it just immediately went way up. And the other example was Joey Gallo's Bowman Chrome auto once he went to the Yankees. I believe they hit around 400. Right now they're about 100-ish, 80-ish or so. So they've come way down in value. But the thing of it is, of why I'm using these examples are, if you can figure out the players that possibly will get traded from now until a week from now, then you can definitely make some quick profit. Benintendi is a guy that can get moved. Luis Castillo is a guy that can get moved. We've already talked about Soto. We've talked about Wilson Contreras. So all of these guys are, I would say star players, and they're kind of like the names that would make the most sense as far as an investing standpoint. If you're going to take a chance on, trying to get a quick flip, or if you're going to try to just buy these guys because you're a collector, those are kind of the four guys you should be zeroing in right now on the trade deadline. I've already bought Luis Castillo Bowman Chrome Auto Mega Box. It's a very tough card. Not a lot of them graded. Not a lot of them even ungraded available. I bought one for about $31 a couple of days ago. But that's a card that's going to go up if he goes to the Yankees. I could see it hitting $75-$80 if he does go to the Yankees. It's possible he does. It's possible he doesn't. But sooner or later the Yankees are going to have to do something at the trade deadline. They haven't done too much, within the last couple of years. So they could for sure get somebody. But we'll have to wait and see. A few other things too I wanted to talk about was I wanted to transition to a little bit football for a little while too. There's a few players right now that you can start, let's say, zeroing in on, and you can start looking to buy them now before training camp hits, or before some guys start getting some more hype. Around this time about 2 years ago, when they dropped the Madden ratings, it seemed like that's when a lot of guys' cards started to go up, because then people kind of use that as their premise to say, okay, this guy's rated this in Madden. Maybe, I should start investing his card. The one guy then that went up like tremendously when he had like a 99 in Madden was Michael Thomas. Though his Prism Silver, I still remember it hitting it like $500 or something crazy during the COVID. But that's one thing to start paying attention to, is start doing your research on football. Look for some guys that are maybe their number one receiver on the depth chart that people didn't realize, or maybe a certain player has a low pop that you can buy now that nobody else knows about. Maybe you can catch on to like a player that people aren't thinking of to buy. A few that come to my mind off the top of my head is, I think Matt Ryan right now is really undervalued from a collecting standpoint. You can pick up his 2008 Topps Chrome PSA 10 rookie for around, the most recents are around 100-ish. I haven't seen any active or current auctions, but maybe someone is willing to sell it at comps, and to me that's a buy at $100, just because I think if you look at some of the other quarterbacks, that if you start getting into like the first tier of quarterbacks, like you look at Burrow, you look at Herbert, those guys are still in the 350 range in a Prism, whereas like Matt Ryan, yeah, he's older, but his pop report is probably lower than those guys. He's already going to be a Hall of Fame. He's already close to being a Hall of Famer. He's won an MVP. He's on a new team with the Colts. So I think, to me, if he starts out well, that's a $150, maybe even $200 card, if depending on how he does. But I think at 100, even it's a solid buy. That's just like one comparison I've done so far. The other I was researching today, I'm kind of intrigued by Alan Lazard on the Green Bay Packers. I've been seeing that he's like possibly their number one or number two receiver, and with Rodgers, he likes to throw the ball, and Lazard is a guy that I believe his rookie is 2018 Prism. He has like a silver auto, or like a couple different colored autos that you can pick up, and they're relatively cheap. They're around $30 or so, and if he does well with the Packers, this is a card that can probably double in value. Graded examples are going good too, so maybe it's even a card to buy and get graded. But the thing with the grading is, if you want to get it back quick and before the season starts, you got to invest probably at least another $50. So ungraded might be your best bet for him. One other guy too, and I'm going to try to do more of these each week and profile some other football guys as we get closer to the season. One other guy I like is Kadarius Toney on the Giants. He played really well during the games that he did play with the Giants last year. I just feel like there's too much upside and potential for him, and the Giants, threw to him a lot when he did play. He got his fair share of targets. I believe you can pick up his Contenders auto for around $20 or so, and that just seems too low for me for a guy in a big market, and especially in a nice card in Contenders auto. That's got good upside, a good card to get graded to, play the long-term game with it, and at $20, like, you should be buying like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 of those. And I definitely want to pick one up myself, being a Giants fan, because I think he has like a solid future, and you can tell that he has the ability to succeed for sure. As we wrap up here, I wanted to spend a few moments on one other cool card I wanted to point out, right? So if you're not familiar with this card, I think this is a very underrated card. It's the 2000 Bowman Chrome Adam Wainwright rookie, right? And the only way you could get this card was if you bought the set that was it was like a factory sealed set, and it used to come in a box back in the day. Like there was no pack for it or nothing. It was just that you had to open the set, and that was how you got it, right? Long story short, you can buy the set sealed on eBay for, let's say, $25-$30, right? And Wainwrights in a PSA 10 are selling as high as $200 to $250. So let's just assume if you buy a set, right, and you want to get the card graded for, let's say, even $50, right? You would be into it for about $80, and it's possible you could get back a 10. 9 you would maybe break like slightly even, or even lose a little bit of money. 9s are probably trending at 60-75 range, but it's still a very undervalued card, I would say, just because people aren't realizing that Wainwright is slowly building like a Hall of Fame path, and people are saying supposedly this could be his last year. He might retire the same time that Yachty retires, so there could be a slight bump with Wainwright towards the end of the year, and especially if the Cardinals do make a run here in the postseason, which I think certainly is possible. It's just that it's going to come down to if people take interest in that card, which I think they will, because he doesn't have a lot of rookie cards. That's one of his only rookie cards, that in the Topps traded Chrome. We have a few moments left, and I just wanted to point out some other key cards that I picked up recently too, and I wanted to talk about why I like them and why I bought them. I picked up a Jordan Poole Prism PSA 10. That kid has got tremendous upside and tremendous explosiveness. He helped the Warriors win a lot of games in the postseason, and I'm honestly not sure why he dropped so much within let's say a month and a half or so. Those were comping at closer to $250. I picked it up for about $55. To me, it was a no-brainer. I honestly don't even want to sell it for $100. I would probably wait until it hits at least $150 to sell it, or I'll honestly just hold on to it, or just keep it until I feel like I'm getting enough value back for it. But definitely try to pick up Poole, even if you have to pay closer to, let's say, the $80-$100 range. And I'm not saying that just because I bought it, just because I think the Warriors, they could be back there this year, and Poole could be even better this year. The kid, I think he's only around 23 or so. But yeah, that's a really good buy. The other one was I've talked about this card before on my premium account. It's the 1964 Topps Dick Allen. It actually says Richie Allen on it. But this card is his rookie. It's a PSA 6. And the one thing I love about vintage cards is the centering. The card has to be centered, because that adds a lot more value and a lot more premium. Collectors love lower grades like 5s, 6s, even 4s that are centered, because to them, the centering, it makes the card have more eye appeal. It makes it stronger. It means that the card could be undergraded. There's a number of different factors, of why people like lower grades that are centered versus higher grades that are off-centered, because it's just preference, and it's the first thing that people say. But quick story about Dick Allen, then we'll wrap things up. He should have gotten in the Hall of Fame last year. That same card in a PSA 6 was around 400 or so, I think they hit, and then they've come down because he didn't get in the Hall. He was one vote short from the committee vote. But I think ultimately he will get in, and that is a long-term hold. So even in the short term, like, I picked it up for around 145, and I think that's probably a 250 card right now, but I could see that easily hitting 400 very soon. But yeah, that'll wrap things up for episode 2, and we'll see you guys next week, and we'll be at the National. Thanks. Bye.